This is hands down the easiest way to make chicken broth ever. Plus, it's probably the healthiest thing you could ever put into your mouth. If you've never made chicken broth before, then hang out for the easiest guide to making the most delicious chicken broth ever. For the longest time, I had no idea how to heal my gut. I knew it was leaky because I had lots of food sensitivities, and it turns out how you heal it and seal it is by making and drinking homemade broth. So that's exactly what we're doing in the easiest form and fashion there is. So I start with 2 whole chickens. You can use any cut of meat that has bone in it. This includes like beef short rib, any sort of fish. I just love to use the chicken because it makes so much and we eat it the rest of the week. So I cleaned it, I put it in my stock pot, and I filled over the chicken with about 1 inch of filtered water above, and then I'm bringing it to a boil. Before it starts to boil, there's going to be this scum that pops up. And so what you're going to do is just take sort of a mesh strainer or any sort of spoon that has a hole in it that can drain out the rest of the water. And you're going to skim that scum off and just rinse it in the sink. And then once it starts to boil, you're going to turn it down to low and then literally just add mineral salt. You can add any aromatics you want, but for the sake of simplicity and ease, we are only adding salt. And this way, it aligns with everybody's taste buds. I have 3 kids. My kids love it just with salt. So you're going to put that lid over it and you're going to let it simmer for about 2 to 3 hours. This was done in 2.5 hours, and how I knew was I checked my chicken, and once I picked it up with my utensils, the chicken just started falling apart, and that's when you know that it's completely done. So I'm taking it over to the counter and removing all of the chicken, and then I break that chicken down after I store my broth. I get so much bang for my buck by doing this because all this chicken can be used for dinner and then like 4 other lunches for my entire family for the rest of the week. And that is just how you work smarter and not harder. So you can see that there are a couple pieces of chicken left that I can't get with my tongs, so I take a spoon to get it all out. And then once I feel like it's pretty good and ready, I take a strainer and another pot and just start to pour it in so that we catch all those bits that we don't necessarily like to drink. This is not a completely necessary step, but I like to do it because of optics. I'm not sure what it is, but it's just nice to drink a clean broth that doesn't have extra skin or fat hanging on. So then after I do that, I know that we are not going to drink all of this broth in a couple days. So I like to freeze a lot of it in cubes. And then before we eat breakfast in the morning, I pop one of these cubes on the stove, and then each of us have a couple ounces of stock before we start our day. And that really just works to heal our guts and make sure that they're primed and ready for all the food that we're going to be having during that day. Another reason I freeze it is because I love to cook my rice in broth, and it just makes it so nutritious and absolutely delicious. And then if I want to make another chicken soup or another recipe that requires broth, I just have it on hand, and it's not store-bought. I know exactly what has gone into it. I know that I've used pasture-raised birds, and if I don't have pasture-raised birds, I'm using organic. I know I'm using mineral salt and filtered water, and it just gives me peace of mind knowing that I know exactly what's in this broth and I'm the one that made it. And so I am just going ahead and pouring some of this broth into a jar, and I'm going to pop that in the fridge because I know that we're not going to drink that tonight. Take this as your sign to start making your own broth. It's the easiest thing to make. It's so nutritious, and I believe the healthiest thing ever. And just like that, you've made the easiest and most delicious chicken broth there is around. Drink it up, store it in the fridge for a week, and then freeze what you're not going to use. And your gut will always thank you. Thanks for hanging out. This is Healing Mavericks. My name is Olivia Faria, and have a beautiful day.